Let me have a wet of my drink. We've got a big aftermath to do. We've got a big aftermath to do, so get stocked up on the liquid refreshments, and we will begin with the aftermath. Just having the tropical crush, because you can't beat a little bit of tropical crush. So, welcome back to another stream. It feels a little bit of a while since I've done one of these, and I think it's maybe been about 2 or 3 days or something. I think Wednesday might have been the last time that I actually did one. So, so we've got 3 gig aftermaths to do today. So this weekend we had 3 gigs: Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And today has been a day of not really doing anything apart from a little ride on the bike to my friend's house, which kind of was a little bit of a regret. I went to my friend's house, and basically while I was there, it had started to rain, and I was on the bike, and the bike just got really wet. And in all fairness, I didn't really, I did obviously, I dressed correctly for for riding the bike, but I didn't, like really dress too well for the wet. So I had like my big leather jacket and stuff, but then I just had my trousers on. And anyway, it stopped raining. I went to leave. It had stopped raining, but it had been raining. So I thought I'm gonna go home. Roads are wet, but they're just starting to dry. I just got riding home, and down came the rain, and it started raining again. And I had a really, really hell of a job getting the bike out of my, like, where I'm storing it. So where I'm storing it, basically, where you go down a step, the step's quite a steep step, and you go down the step, and there's like like when you get to the bottom of the step, there's like a really tight corner. So when you're bringing the bike out of the shed, you can't get a run up to the step because the corner is so tight, and because the step is so steep, it's really hard. Like, unless you more or less lift the bike, lift the front wheel up over the step, like you really struggle to get it out. And sort of like through the week, I've been having a little bit of a helping hand to get the bike out. And obviously, it's come to the weekend, and I can't rely on people helping me all the time. So me being me, attempted to get it out myself, and I just got stuck with it. I couldn't get it up for ages. And then eventually, I got somehow the strength to pull the front wheel up, but then I couldn't get the back wheel up, and I couldn't lift the back of the bike up on my own. So I thought I'm going to abort the mission. So essentially, I went to put the bike back down, and when I went to put the bike back down, I didn't like reverse with the bike on an angle. So um, when I did, I basically got the bike stuck. So like, because when you come down from the step, the space is so short before you hit the building. I got my number plate stuck, and it was causing the bike to lean, because the bike could literally not, because the wall was like catching the number plate. Basically, you couldn't get the bike to sort of stay up straight. And then every time I was trying to go to the back of the bike to lift it, so I could move it round on an angle, the handlebars were turning, which was causing the bike to slant. So I got into a really bad situation, and then luckily someone came out to help. But I got there in the end. I got it out in the end with a bit of help. So that was today. So let's get on to the gigs. Big shout to big shout to big shout to 44. Big shout. So this weekend we had 3 gigs. We had a charity gig, and then Friday Sheffield, and then Saturday we was in Hull. And 2 magical moments happened during this weekend. Both that I will probably cherish for the rest of my life as sort of like a really emotional stroke good moment in my music career. So we'll get on to them because they were really special for me. Um, so Thursday we had tunes for charity, and there isn't really too much to say about it. So I won't really be saying too much about it, but essentially I helped where I live. I live in like a supported living place, and we just basically put this little like event on for charity, raising money for Mind that obviously do things for dementia. And I have a family member who is unfortunately suffering with dementia quite badly, and she's in a home at the moment. So not very good, but it's quite close to me. And I was quite close to this family member who has unfortunately been diagnosed with the dementia. So it felt right. They said, look, we're going to do something for charity. We'd like you to DJ it. Is there a charity that you have in mind? So I said, look, we'll do Mind because that kind of feels close to me. I feel like, anybody can say we're going to do a charity event, and raise money for so and so, but sometimes, are you doing it for the sake of it or just because you think it looks good or it's going to be a good cause? Like, I think sometimes if you've got kind of like a connection with the reason why you would donate to that charity, it just feels more right. Like I could have said, oh yeah, let's raise money. I don't know, for something else, but and it's not that I don't feel sorry for people that are in them situations, but like it doesn't, like it isn't something that's really close to me, and I feel like when I'm quite sort of familiar having a family member that's obviously been diagnosed with dementia. It just felt right to do that. It felt close to me, so we chose to do that. And we had this little event. We had basically CD donations, and then people could buy a CD for £1, and obviously the money from the CD donations would go to the charity, obviously. So that was obviously, really cool. There was some good CDs that got sold, and I did a little bit of DJing, and we had some food and stuff. It was just a nice sort of little enjoyable time. Didn't really go on too long, to be honest, but it was enjoyable what we did, and that was kind of all gravy. That was all fine and good for me. So we move on to Friday. Friday was the mighty Chain Reaction in Sheffield, celebrating 18 years of Chain Reaction. I wouldn't have even been, I'd have been a kid when that brand obviously first started way back 18 years ago. I mean, what are we now? 2024. So, 2024 take 10 is 2014. Take 8, 2013, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So about 2006 would have been when the brand launched, and that's crazy to think now that 2006 was 18 years ago. Like, I kind of remember 2006 quite well, believe it or not. I remember sort of some like songs and stuff that was around back then. We had Voodoo Child. That was a really good track actually. So yeah, we had some quite good tracks. I'm pretty sure there was. I'm sure Body Rocks, yeah, yeah, was sort of around 2006 as well. But yeah, we had this. It's just mad that 18 years has passed. So it was their birthday event. Scott Brown, the legend, Evolution Records, the hardcore dominator, Scott Brown, was headlining alongside MC Spinner, not MC Spinner, sorry, DJ Spinner, sorry, was also headlining as well. Let me just have a little wet of my drink. And there was a stacked lineup. Really, really good. So I arrived at the event. The event was looking really well. It was quite busy. There was quite a lot of people there already, which was really, really good. Everybody seemed to be vibing and sort of enjoying the first set. And I arrived at the event, and DJ Spinner was going to be on second. He was going to be on at 10 o'clock. And to cut the story short, basically DJ Spinner was running late. So I arrived, and they asked me if I would go on and cover for DJ Spinner just while he was running late. Said, oh, it'd be about 25 minutes. He's had a train that's delayed, blah, blah, blah. So I said, yeah, all right, no worries. I'll jump on. Didn't really know what to expect. I just thought, all right, I'll jump on. I don't mind jumping on. That kind of thing. Crowd looked quite lively. So I thought this is going to be quite cool. Didn't really know what I was going to play, to be honest with you. I was a little bit like, do you know what? Like, I'm not really sure here what to play. So I just thought, well, the set that's currently on right now is like a UK hardcore set. So I just kind of thought I'm just going to kind of follow with a UK hardcore set. So I went on to find out that I actually had ELL micing me. So if you don't know, ELL is a legend in our area. He's like been a headline MC for a lot of years. He was around sort of in the 90s. He's been a big part of like Uprising, Destruction, TFI, some of the biggest brands in our area, and he's been an absolute legend. So to have him sort of mic the set, because obviously he was gonna mic Spinner, he mics headliners, a lot of the time he mics headliners. So it was a really, really for me it was just an absolutely like wow. I'm about to go and do a set with ELL. Now I have sort of briefly done a set with him before. We did. He invited me to play at his birthday bash. He put like a birthday event on last year, and he invited me to play at it, and that was a really really good feeling. When I did that, but he sort of mic'd it, but it was kind of like a freeway B2B with Winnie B, Fergs, and just a lot of passing the mic. Whereas this one felt like it was a proper sort of dedicated set to have ELL on, and it was just me and him and the stage, and there was nobody else to grab the mic, and it just felt really really good. Yes, I am a DJ. So we went with this hardcore set, and it went off. The crowd were up for it. The crowd were dancing, raving away. ELL was just amazing as always on the mic. And I did it, and I think I did him proud. I think I did really, really good, which was an absolute amazing thing for me, because people like that, when they've kind of hosted, and they've been on sets for years, and they've rocked the scene, and they've rocked the game for years. It was just like they're gonna know like when something just doesn't sound good, or if they're not comfy on the set. But ELL just seemed to be really really comfy on the set, and he just seemed to be enjoying himself. Really really enjoying himself. Is DJing hard? DJing, it's a really tough one. DJing, I suppose DJing is hard at first, but then once you pick it up, it's like riding a bike. So, for example, like learning to DJ can be quite hard, trying to pick it up. But once you've picked it up and you've been DJing a while, and then say, for example, I don't know, for whatever reason, you take a break or you give up for a year, and then a year later you decide that you're going to get the decks back out, and you're going to dust them off, and you're going to have a mix again. You don't seem to forget what to do. It's like a really really mad thing. But DJing itself is, it, I think it's quite easy, but I know what I'm doing. So like basically, for me, it's like really like for me it actually is quite easy. And all it really is just about getting a tune in time. So you've got one track on one side, you've got another track on another side, and the aim is just to get, the two tracks going at the same time, at the same speed. So if you've got one track on one side and it's at 150, you've got to make the other track at the other side also be at 150 and it's sit in time. So you've got a cue button, and the cue button, you tap it, you can hear the track. You've got a play button, and you tap the play button and it'll play the track. And you've got like a little screen, usually on like modern controllers now, and it'll tell you the BPM of the track. So if one side says 150 and the other side says 150, you're at the same speed. And then the jog wheel just kind of steers and moves the track to go in time. And basically, if it's not in time, you'll hear like an echo sound, which is like double beating. And if it's in time, basically you'll hear like just no like echoing, no double beating. Everything will sound fine and smooth, and then you're just essentially in the mix. But another hard part is knowing when to come in. So so knowing sort of like when are you going to bring that next track in? When is it the right time to mix the next track in? That's kind of where it becomes hard. So there you go. But anyway, going back to it. So we did the set with ELL. It was supposed to be about 25 minutes, and I think it ended up being somewhat like, nearly 45 minutes. And then the guy who was supposed to be on after Spinner turned up before Spinner did. So they said, look, we're going to, because you've got your set later, we'll take you off and we'll put him on. And then essentially, Spinner did come, but he only ended up playing sort of something like half an hour or something like that. So I played sort of like 10 till about 10:45, and then the other person, Bushy, played from like 10:45 to from 10:45 till about 20 past 25 past 11. And then Spinner just basically played from there up until midnight. And Scott Brown then came on. So it was a really, really moment for me to be on a set with the ELL, and to know that he was happy with the set as well, like he was comfy on it. That was a buzz for me. You're only pressing buttons and matching the tempo. Yeah, you can. I mean, arguably, that's the basic of DJing. That's the basics of it. But you can do so much more. Like the basic of it is like to get it, to match the tempo. That's the basic of it. But that's boring. Anybody could learn to do that and go to a gig and do that. But why would you want to just do that when it's all about the way you bring the next track in? It's all about the way you read the crowd. It's all about the way you play the set. So, anyone can go to a gig who knows sort of basically how to beat match. And they can go and just, play one track and then play another track after that at the end of that track. But it's just basically, like about how you do it. So, like when I play sets, sometimes I try and bring tracks in at like places where other DJs wouldn't think to bring tracks in. I try and do double drops, I try and do mashups, I do edits on my computer sometimes at home before a set. So like I'll put like an acapella over an instrumental tune and make a mashup. I'll trim some tracks down, so like you've got like one track who what might be like 6 minutes long, and sometimes I'll cut a portion of that track out and make it so I can mix out of that track earlier. And sometimes, and it's all about keeping the energy and kind of like the flow of the dance floor going. And that is a big part of what it is. So, there's more to it than just matching beats is like the basic of it. And that is the basics of what to do. But if you want to stand out more and you want to be more interested at a gig and you want to do a set that's going to make people think I really enjoyed that set, like that is essentially what you do. Like you try and be a bit more creative. How much does a DJ setup cost? It varies. DJ setups, they vary. So the setup I've got, which is still, I've not plugged it back in from Thursday yet. But DJ setups can vary, so you can get like really little basic controllers for like beginner DJs, and you can pick them up for like 50 quid upwards. And they'll like connect with an iPad, they'll connect with a laptop or a computer, and then and they just do basic things. They don't have a whole load of effects on them. They just have basically like the Q button, the play button, and jog wheels and volume and tempo, mid lows, highs, and that's about it. And then you've got like I'd say like the next step up, which is like a bigger controller. And these bigger controllers, they'll do a little bit more. They've got some more effects on them, and they're a little bit bigger, and they're a little bit better quality. But you can DJ on the beginner ones like perfectly fine. I've used them loads of times. I use them in work. Um, so the next step up, they're a bit bigger. They cost a little bit more. They can go up from like 200 quid upwards. Depending on like the make and size, you can get 2 channels, 4 channels. 4 channels, they allow you to plug like external things in. So like you can have a controller, and then say you want to plug a couple of turntables in. You can plug a couple of turntables into the back of the controller, and you can use 2 of the channels on the controller as kind of like channels for the vinyls, and you can do a vinyl mix, and you can basically use the controller as your mixer for your vinyl. Or again, you can just put a record on, and you can use the controller as for your volume, for how loud you want the record to play, that kind of thing. And then you've kind of got the next step up, which is like your standalone controllers and CDJs. And I suppose like I've got the RX1, so I can get the RX1 now. You can get them anywhere from like £600 plus, but a lot of them, especially in good condition, are around like the 800, 900 quid mark. Then you've got like the RX2, and they're like just peaking over a grand. They're like 1,100. Some of them, if they're sort of like pre-owned and used a little bit, you might get them for a grand, 900 quid if you're really lucky. And then you've got like the XZ, which goes for like 2 grand plus. You've got like the RX3, which goes for somewhere around the same price. The Opus Quad, I think, or Opus Quad or something like that it's called. And yeah, basically that is the go from there. And then you've got like the CDJs and the mixers, and they're like 2 grand a CDJ, and then you pay a good grand for like the mixer. So how's the bike going? The bike is not actually doing too well. It's doing all right, but I just had a little problem with it today, so I struggled. So where I live, I really struggle to get it out. So basically you go down like a little step to get to this like little sort of shed, kind of like in a sort of brick building where I keep it. And it's all fine and dandy getting it sort of down, but bringing it back out is really hard because the step's quite steep, and there's like a little pathway, but the turn, when you're trying to get it out like from the pathway to get it up the step, like the path is just not wide enough for the bike, if that makes sense. So like you're really close to the building, so I really struggled to get it out, and someone had to come and help me in the end. So we're gonna try and get like some form of ramp there. And anyway, I was riding to my mate's house, and one of me wing mirrors came loose, and it's come loose before. So um, so it came loose, and I knew that I needed a spanner to tighten something up. So I asked my friend. I said, "Look, can I just borrow a spanner before I leave? Tighten this mirror up." So we did that, all fine and dandy. And then basically we went over just to check the other mirror, and actually, like the clutch housing had come a little bit loose on the clutch side. So my friend said like that's come loose. We're going to have to tighten it. So he started to undo the mirror. So we could take the mirror off and tighten the clutch lever. And as he was twisting the mirror, part of the like what the mirror kind of like twists into just snapped and broke off. So now I'm gonna have to order I've just ordered yet another clutch lever. It wasn't my friend's fault, it was a complete accident, and he's offered to pay for the clutch lever. So everything is, all fine and good, and it doesn't affect the clutch from working, but you can't get the housing without getting a clutch lever. It's just easier to buy a new clutch lever. So that's going to come sort of like towards the end of the week, and then it'll just be a case of a quick changeover, and everything should be all fine and dandy. But it was just a little bit annoying at the time, but it was one of them things. Unfortunately, it just snapped. I don't. There must have already been a crack in it or something. I honestly do not know, but it just snapped. So yeah, so that was that. But apart from that, the bike is all fine. I've been riding it loads. I've been enjoying it, and it's been good. So anyway, back to the aftermaths of the gig. So I did the set with ELL, and then I still had my last set to do B2B with Owen and RG. Pardon. Which that went down the tree. That was still really fun. That was really enjoyable. So Saturday we was in Hull for the Experience, a big 12-hour rave. It was this rave to the exact. So massive 12-hour rave. Myself and you Vibe, we went back to back, and we opened up the Courtyard. We played the first set, and really enjoyable set. The only issue was one of the play buttons was broke on one of the CDJs, and it was really awkward. It was really awkward to mix. So what you had to do was you had to like press it in a certain place or really bash it, but sometimes it just wouldn't work and it'd catch you off guard. And basically you would lose, like you'd miss a cue point. And it was a bit annoying. Like at first I was getting it to work and it was all right, and then like a little bit sort of later through the set it threw me off guard like once or twice. And then I just thought, you know what I'm going to do is put the CDJ into vinyl mode. I'm going to just hammer the play button way before my cue point, and then I'm just going to hold onto the jog wheel like you would if you were mixing a vinyl. And then basically I'd just let go on the cue point, and that way I wouldn't miss the cue. So, and that kind of seemed to work. It was that was like a good way for me to get it to work, to just do it on the vinyl mode, which was really really good. So I kind of worked that out, and played a really enjoyable hardcore set, which was really good. The only issue was the outdoor stage I was on was far too wobbly. And when I get into the mix and when I really vibe off of what I'm doing and what I'm playing, I jump around, I start dancing, I get energetic, I get really excited. And I was doing this and I was jumping and everything was wobbling, and next minute like drinks are nearly going flying, and bits of things are falling off the stand that the decks are on, and I'm kind of having to rein it in. But like part of what I do, I get excited, I jump around, I get energetic. And it was just something for me that I just thought, you know what, like I just needed it. I just needed to rein it in a bit, but it was still a really good vibe. And then later on, I grabbed the mic and I had the pleasure with going B2B on the mic alongside the layman and the legend MC Marcus. So on the Friday, I do a set with ELL, who is a legend, and then on the Saturday, I do like a B2B on the mic with MC Marcus, and it just like honestly, it was just such a cool weekend. So the event, like I say, was a big 12-hour thing. I stayed till about the second to last set, nearly, somewhere around there, and I only live 3 minutes away, 3 minutes away from the venue. So I just thought by this point, because when I did the last set on Friday, we got in just after 6, and I woke up really late on the Saturday because I was absolutely shattered. So yeah, so on the Saturday, Sunday morning, it got to like 1, 2, and I just thought, do you know what? Like, I'm ready to call it a day now. Ready to go home, have a nice warm drink, get tucked up in bed, watch my phone for a little bit, and then kind of, yeah, let's go. So I was probably in bed by about 10 to 5 to 3, with a warm drink, just getting ready to settle down, and it felt really good. And then I think I woke up this morning about 10:30 or something like that. 10:30 going up for 11. And just I lounged around for a while. So, but yeah, a really good weekend. Two absolutely stomping events, two absolute amazing events with absolutely fantastic lineups. So really great to be involved. So big thanks to Sean and David Cliney for booking me on the Friday. Massive shout to John and Sam Herring for booking me on the Saturday. And also, of course, a massive respect to the Riverside Housing Association for having me involved in doing the charity thing. It was really good. You'll be pleased to know we raised around about 50 quid. So that was, to me, that was still something quite good. Every little helps. I know we weren't exactly raising hundreds, but it was just something small within the organisation itself. And only sort of really people from the other Riversides were coming, so there was only people from like other Riverside associations that were really coming to the event. So we did quite well. I was very pleased, and next week we will be going to cash that in and make sure that it obviously goes to the Mind charity itself, and everything will be all fine and good. And yeah, we'll be doing something else again. Going forward as well, we'll be doing some like another thing for charity, or we'll be doing like another event at some point, and doing some different things and making it a little bit more different. So that'll be really good. So that's going to do it for this one. Yeah, make sure to like, comment, share. We'll see you soon. God.